All right, back here in Johannesburg, we're joined now by Mr. Terry Tselane, an analyst, just to make sense of the special votes and other election-related matters. Mr. Tselane, thank you so much for making the time this morning. Ordinarily, when we would have you previously, would be on the other side. And now we have the benefit of all this knowledge that you have. We've had 2 polls already as we mark 25 years of democracy. The international or overseas vote that has taken place, and currently the special vote which started yesterday is currently underway. Let's just clarify for our viewers, the results of these elections do not become immediately available. They're also tabulated at the same time as the normal votes on Wednesday.
Absolutely. What is going to be happening is that the international votes are going to be put together into what is regarded as international settlement of the voters' roll. So they become a voting district on their own, irrespective of where they're cast. Whether it is in London or Dubai, when they get here, they are counted together as one settlement, rather one segment of the voters' roll, which then also gets counted together with all other ballots received for the national.
So that result will only be known when the overall result is announced.
So the international segment of the voters' roll is only focusing on the national ballot. But the special votes that are currently taking place
needs to be made as well.
Yeah, the current special votes that are taking place in the country. That's where a voter who would have applied for a special vote would then get 2 ballots, one for national and the other one for provincial.
So although we have a national and provincial vote, and we also have local elections in the interim, there's also another election that takes place that impacts these outcomes called the by-election. What kind of movements have we seen in by-elections, and how do they impact this bigger election?
Well, the by-elections that take place, they do not necessarily contribute towards the current elections, even though in terms of preparations, in terms of staffing.
But in terms of looking at the mood and reading how people are thinking.
Yeah, it is very, very difficult to compare the by-elections with the current national provincial election. And I'll tell you why it is not possible to rather make a comparison between the two. For national and provincial, there's a lot of excitement, there is a lot of campaigning that the political parties have done, but also it is a public holiday. Unlike the by-elections, people who participate, and it also, people who normally take part in that are people who may not have other responsibilities such as work, etc., etc. So, when you look at the election results, you can't make really a comparison in terms of voter participation between the by-elections and national and provincial elections.
So an article in the Africa Conversation today by Frans Krier says that mainstream media has put too much emphasis on national leaders and polls leading up to this election at the expense of real issues at ground level. How do we separate the two in an election such as this one? And are we leaving space? Do you feel that mainstream media has not done enough?
No, I think it's because, remember, media takes its cue from the political campaigning. So the media reports what is actually happening on the ground when the political parties are spreading their messages. They are the ones who've got to interpret that message and try to make sense of it, and so that the general electorate can be able to understand. So if the political parties focus on particular issues, media also will naturally follow the same trend that the political parties are focusing on.
How do we make the separation, though, between the bigger issues, the strategy issues, and the local issues, which are also very real?
It depends really on the political parties that are campaigning in the elections, and they would have done their research to find out what actually resonates with the electorate. You may find that there are lots of vulnerabilities at the local level because of service delivery issues, and therefore political parties in general would want to turn a blind eye to those issues, because those issues then would expose their weaknesses. Therefore, the focus largely would then be on bigger national issues, because then the electorate would not really look at areas of vulnerabilities and focus only on those areas where political parties are strong and where their message is strong.
So now 48 political parties contesting the national ballot. Yesterday, when the special voting started, one of the people we were interviewing could not even remember how far back they started voting, which parties they voted for then, and if those parties still existed and new parties, new players had come in. How confusing can this be for a special voter who is has advanced in age?
It is very, very confusing, even for a comfortable and sophisticated voter. I mean, yesterday when I went to cast my ballot, just looking at the number of the political parties that are there, it was really something.
You thought you knew your options and suddenly.
Absolutely. So now you can imagine, I mean, as a person who has run the elections for so many years and who understands the process, I took longer looking at those political parties and having to make a decision. But it's not only the national ballot that is long. The provincial ballots have also...
Even longer.
Absolutely. I mean, look at Northwest. Northwest is the highest, has got the highest number of political parties with 81% increase. And Mpumalanga and Free State, they also increased with 75%. So really there's been a lot of excitement by political parties participating in the elections, and this is not reflected actually by the number of registered voters, because the number of the registered voters has actually gone down compared to other years.
We're talking to Terry Tselane. He's a former IEC official, now speaking in his personal capacity, and we'll continue this conversation. But right now, field rangers and other staff members in the Kruger National Park will exercise their vote on the last day of the special votes in Mpumalanga. Our reporter Jonathan Lungu is there. Jonathan, a very good morning to you. What's happening where you are?